Kind of feels like we're on a Mad Max adventure.
A journey to the top of the world.
You're standing on the biggest rare earth deposit in the world. It's enormous. It's a freak of nature.
Why Donald Trump is going gaga for Greenland.
One way or the other, we're going to get it.
And the Australian company set to make billions there.
We're looking at money, money, money.
If only they can convince the locals.
You cannot buy us. We are not for sale.
That's next on 60 Minutes.
At the very top of the world, Greenland is not only remote, it's visually stunning. Its beauty, though, is not why it's attractive to Donald Trump. He says the island is vital for America's future security. But as well as being geopolitically significant, it's also full of rare earth minerals. They're considered essential ingredients for modern life, critical in the manufacture of mobile phones, electric cars, even the latest military hardware and weapons. To guarantee access to these precious materials, Trump wants to buy Greenland, and if that doesn't work, simply take it. And believe it or not, his bluster is actually good news for a little-known Australian mining company with the exploration rights to Greenland's largest rare earth deposits. Not surprisingly, the locals aren't so sure. No matter where you look, Greenland is breathtaking. From the majestic icebergs that fill the harbour to the quaint and colourful villages that nestle the shoreline. This place is akin to a mystical fantasy world. But it's what lies beneath this ancient land that feeds modern demands. The minerals used in everything from electric cars to mobile phones, missiles, fighter jets and satellites. As you'll see tonight, Greenland has the world's largest deposits of rare earth minerals, which the rest of us want, including Australia.
The project itself, it's enormous. In fact, it's a freak of nature.
Up until recently, people barely knew where Greenland was. Now it's at the centre of a new type of gold rush, which has presidents and prime ministers desperate to control it.
I think we're going to get it. One way or the other, we're going to get it.
It's a land grab that has outraged the locals.
You cannot buy us. We are not for sale.
But the gamble is their minerals are. And incredibly, it's Australian mining leading the bidding.
This is wealth for this country and for its citizens, and we are here to unlock it.
And if they do, they'll break China's crippling monopoly on the rare earth market.
So right now, that's why there's such a race for rare earths.
Kind of feels like we're on a Mad Max adventure.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah.
A race that's taken us to one of the most epic places on Earth. We start in Narsak, southern Greenland. Australian mining chairman Simon Kidston has brought me here to inspect what his company has discovered, the largest deposit of rare earths in the world. Joined by CEO Daniel Mamadou, the pair run Energy Transition Minerals, or ETM. Nearly 20 years ago, the company saw value where no one else did, securing the rights to explore the enormous wealth buried here. So what's an Australian company doing here in the wilds of Greenland?
Look, we're progressing the world's biggest rare earth deposit, and we're determined to bring that back into production for the benefit of the Western supply chain.
So to use an analogy, you're sitting on a gold mine.
Look, we are. It's an amazing opportunity, and we're very proud to be part of the team to bring this to fruition.
If it does come to fruition, what is this area worth?
We're talking about billions of dollars of value.
That's because so far already, they've found 1 billion tonnes of this new gold. The enormity of this is clear when you see the area on a map.
So this is 1 billion tonnes. It's about 10 kilometres by about 5 kilometres, and it's pretty much solid rare earths.
So we're looking at money, money, money.
Yeah, look, we see it as a little Aussie battler on the far side of the world is unlocking a world-class rare earth deposit.
What's even more incredible is that Simon's company has only tested a tiny part, 1/5 of the entire deposit.
And that 20% is 1 billion tonnes or more than 35 years of mining. So we know it continues beyond where we've explored, and that will be for future generations to develop.
Our quest is to reach the peak of Kvarnefeld, masked in mist. As chairman, Simon Kidston doesn't often escape the office. But with Daniel and Chief Geologist Jamil Sader, it's time for the great outdoors. On the way to the top, the valley and mountain range finally reveal themselves. It's a stunning landscape these miners vow they will not destroy.
Look, it's a beautiful environment, but it's a gigantic deposit, and we'll leave these parts of natural beauty alone, and we'll mine the area on the other side of the mountain, so none of this will be disturbed.
The final stretch is too steep even for our mountain buggies.
It's quite the trek, isn't it?
It is a big trek up from the valley, but it's worth it.
So we make the last part of the rocky journey on foot to arrive at the prized deposit.
So I'm standing on it.
Yep, you're standing on the biggest rare earth deposit in the world.
And so the rocks that I'm walking on, are they part of it?
Well, yep, you can pick up any one of these rocks, and it's rare earths.
There is no mine yet, but ETM has already spent $150 million to pinpoint exactly what lies beneath our feet. They may not look like much, but these drill holes, 240 of them scattered across this plateau, have confirmed a treasure trove of rare earth minerals.
Jamil, for a man who loves rocks, are you in rock heaven here?
This is pretty incredible geology. A lot of the rocks here and this deposit itself is, I would say, almost unique globally. There's nothing that's this size, and with these kind of minerals anywhere else in the world.
But the only way to get to them is to dig them up. And ETM has proposed an open-cut mine here, a prospect unacceptable to many.
The notion of an open-cut mine, it's not a pretty one, is it? For a lot of people, it's hard to accept, especially when you look around at what we're standing on.
But not necessarily, Tara, and I think, of course, we respect the opinion of everyone. But the reality is, at some stage, you got to stop exploring and move on to the next stage, which is front-end engineering and design and mining. And this is where we are. So we're ready. We now need to move to the next stage, and this is our mission.
Does any part of you accept that those rare earth minerals should stay where they are when you look at how pristine and untouched this place is?
The world needs rare earths. It's part of our life. Every single mobile phone has rare earths, electronics, aerospace, defence. So the world needs it. And I think it's important that the West has a supply of rare earths to fuel its own modern future.
Problematically, right now, the West is forced to rely almost solely on China, which has established control of the world's rare earth supplies.
It dominates the market, doesn't it?
Absolutely. 95 to 97% of the midstream part of the supply chain is located and or handled by Chinese companies today.
To understand the scale and ramifications of this, if this project is realised, it will see enough rare earth minerals mined to transform the global market, freeing up the West from China's monopoly.
The project itself is globally significant. It's enormous. And I think that presents a rare opportunity to be a significant player, a non-Chinese player, feeding the Western market and decoupling the reliance the West currently has to Chinese industry.
This one project can do that.
I believe it can.
And so does Donald Trump.
They should give it up because we need it for national security. That's for the free world.
Coming up, how in the midst of a global arms race, Greenland's minerals make it the hottest place on Earth.
President Trump has gotten the entire world focused on the strategic significance of Greenland.
We need Greenland, very importantly, for international security. We have to have Greenland. It's not a question of, do you think we can do without it? We can't.
Greenland is the geographical epicentre of the moment, thanks to Donald Trump.
I think we're going to get it. One way or the other, we're going to get it.
In March, discussing the territory of Denmark like a coveted child's toy, the president shocked the world and angered the local Greenlandic people. They didn't like the tone. They came out and said that publicly.
And the president's tone gets a lot of people worked up, but I would argue it gets tremendous results.
Former National Security Council Assistant Director Alex Gray says for Trump, those results could include tapping Greenland's enormous deposits of rare earth minerals, essential for the production of modern warfare, as well as mobile phones and electric vehicles.
I think the estimates that I've seen, that the US government, I believe, has seen, are extraordinary. So I think ultimately, economically and strategically, this is going to be a win-win for everyone.
One of the biggest winners so far has been the Australian mining company Energy Transition Minerals, run by Simon Kidston and Daniel Mamadou, who took me to their yet-to-be-mined rare earth site in Greenland, considered one of the largest deposits in the world.
And what we need, it's very important for this business that we're talking about here, we need rare earths.
Trump's chest beating about his need for Greenland's rare earths reverberated immediately. How does Donald Trump's position on Greenland affect you guys?
Our share price did see a rise.
A modest rise?
No, it was not modest. It was actually quite significant.
But it's not just Greenland's mineral mountains that are generating global interest. Its waterways make it a vital strategic player, located as it is within oceans that are a gateway to naval vessels and nuclear submarines from Russia and China.
You don't even need binoculars. You look outside, you have China ships all over the place. You have Russian ships all over the place. We're not letting that happen.
This is why Trump is worried. All that lies between China, Russia and North America is Greenland.
It's about 1,200 miles from the east coast of the United States. So taking kind of traditional security concerns, this is a direct threat to the U.S. homeland if Greenland was ever under the influence of a foreign adversary.
Though it's considered unlikely he'll follow through, the president refused to rule out military action against the Danish outpost to ensure security in the sensitive region.
If we allow China to continue to expand into strategic locations all over the world, like they have in Australia's backyard, like they have in Africa, that is destabilizing for the peace and prosperity of the entire world. The bottom line is, President Trump is right. If we don't have a closer relationship with Greenland in the long term, China and Russia will.
At a time when the geostrategic risk is very, very high coming from both China and Russia, it is a very strategic position for the United States from a security perspective.
Gracelyn Bhaskaran is the director of the Critical Minerals Security Program at the Centre for Strategic and International Studies in Washington, D.C. As well as the security risk posed by China, she says over the past 40 years, Beijing has taken worldwide commercial control of rare earth minerals, forming a stranglehold on the supply and processing of the essential elements.
It's been sourcing these minerals from Africa, Latin America, Europe, even the US and Australia, and then it's built its domestic industrial strategy around building refining at home.
But has the rest of the world been sleeping? I mean, how can it allow one country to control all this?
Sometimes it's not a problem until it's a problem. Mining and processing often have environmental consequences. There's indigenous land issues. So we were okay with it going and being done what we call not in my backyard, NIMBYism.
That was until China flexed its significant muscle earlier this year in retaliation to US tariffs. Weaponising its global monopoly, China cut off its supply of rare earths with immediate and shocking impact.
The plan is to completely shut down this Ford plant.
Another shutdown is planned for the Louisville Ford plant.
So when they imposed these restrictions, it meant that companies in the US, Japan, Europe actually could not access these minerals. And quite quickly, within about 8 weeks, we saw that companies like Ford actually had to stop manufacturing cars at their plant in Chicago. So the impacts were significant, and there was no alternative supply that we could tap into.
And to understand how precarious the current world order is, China is blocking supply of rare earth minerals to US defence manufacturers.
China has fired a decisive shot in its economic war with the West.
This is where the Australian mining company could step in. Its enormous licensed reserves in Greenland could break the stranglehold China wields. To overturn China's grip on the market, not only does it want to mine the minerals, the plan is to also process them here on the Greenland site. Simon Kidston and Daniel Mamadou believe it's vital to break the Chinese monopoly. But showing just how tricky it is, China owns shares in almost every rare earth operation in the world today. That includes their company, to the tune of 9%. Well, what about your shareholder, your single biggest shareholder, who is Chinese?
We've worked in harmony with them so far. They've assisted us at a technical level. We own and control the production of this product.
So you can guarantee that you won't be suffering pressure to be a supplier of rare earth materials, but not a producer?
Absolutely. I mean, we will not be coaxed into having to send this product to China, like
pressured
like many other companies have been.
It's a defiance welcome in the United States.
Every country on Earth that manufactures needs those rare earths. Global demand is growing fast, and Australia is an absolute centerpiece to meeting future demand outside of China.
For the past couple of months, Donald Trump has been relatively quiet on Greenland, but that doesn't mean he's no longer interested in the world's biggest and most important island. Insiders here believe his bare-chested rhetoric has been replaced by boardroom negotiation, and that the president will ultimately get what he wants.
Behind the scenes, this is how President Trump operates. He sets the table, he lays out his position, he brings all parties to the table. Conversations are going on right now, both within the U.S. government and between the U.S., Greenland, and Denmark, to come up with what the next steps in this are.
We're working with everybody involved to try and get it, but we need it really for international world security, and I think we're going to get it. One way or the other, we're going to get it.
It was surprising to me that someone can say something like that. It was kind of, is it a joke or does it really mean that? It seems like he really meant that.
Trump's bluster has hit a raw nerve with the fiercely independent Greenlandic people, including politician Marion Pavieson. What would you like to say to Donald Trump?
You cannot buy us. We are not for sale. We are Greenlandiers and we are not interested to be Americans.
While Greenland is a self-governing, semi-autonomous territory of Denmark, Copenhagen retains control of its foreign affairs and security.
It also keeps the tiny island population of 56,000 people financially afloat. Even so, many Greenlanders are fighting for full independence.
My concern is what happens when the Greenlanders get what they say they want. They say they want independence. And when they ultimately get independence, we're going to have a solution where an island of 56,000 people has some way to keep out bad guys like the Chinese and the Russians. And I think the solution to that is a closer relationship with Washington.
But back in Greenland, the fight is closer to home. As you'll see, forget Trump or China, it's Australia they're most frightened of. What do you fear will happen to the town if the mine goes ahead?
The town will die. That's my fear.
What is it about your town that you love so much?
It is the beauty, it is the peace, it is the people, it is everything.
Is it true you don't like the cold?
Oh, I hate the cold.
Marion Parviason lives in Narsak, Greenland, one of the coldest places on Earth. But her hometown of just 1,300 people is also the centre of a heated battle between locals and an Australian mining company proposing to excavate rare earth minerals from the mountains above her village.
Will you stay? Would you stay?
No, it will kill me if I stay here and look at it.
In this isolated place, where the only highways are waterways, Simon Kidston and Daniel Mamadou from the Australian mining company Energy Transition Minerals, or ETM, show me around. They want to counteract the local fear that mining their rare earth reserves here will only do damage to the community.
It's hard to find people in the township of Narsak who are pro the mine.
In our experience, there's a small but very vocal group opposed. Our experience is that when you speak to cafe owners, hotel owners, other suppliers, they see the opportunity.
How long will there be jobs for these people in the mine?
Hundreds and hundreds of years. Our initial work is focused on the first couple of decades of production, but the resource is so large that it can be sustained for a very, very long time, providing generational employment opportunities. Jobs and royalties and taxes will flow back to this community with minimal impact on the environment and the community.
The mining company is promising the locals riches like they've never seen. But Marion still believes the cost to the environment will be too high. This mild-mannered politician has turned warrior woman to take on the might of the Aussie miners.
You don't think the town and the mine can exist together?
No, no. The town will die. That's my fear.
Without jobs, will the town not die?
We have jobs and we have the opportunity to develop our country, like our town, and tourism is a big opportunity. Now we are fighting for the survival of our town.
You're surrounded obviously by natural beauty here and resources that the world wants. Mm-hmm. Should the world get their hands on it?
Yeah. Yeah, we do have a lot of minerals here in Greenland, and it's like we are like a huge deposit.
Less than 500 kilometres from Narsak, in the capital of Greenland, Nuuk, Kupanik Olsen, or Q, is also a politician, but she has a completely different view on mining.
And do you think that is good for Greenland?
Yeah, it's like we need to have some sort of more income than just the fishing industry.
Q is the only female mining engineer in Greenland, and she earned her stripes a long way from home at Western Australia's Kalgoorlie School of Mines.
And you survived?
I did survive, yeah. Did you know the first evidence of life is found in Greenland?
On social media, Q is Greenland's greatest saleswoman. But as former head of Greenland's Department of Mining and Technical Inspections, Q had privileged access to the Australian open-cut mine proposal, reviewing its environmental impact statement.
I've seen the technical aspect for future potential mining activities like in Narsaq. Regarding the technical aspects, I'm not worried for any environmental disasters or anything.
That site, in fact, is close to farming and fishing and the local community.
Yeah.
And poses a great health risk to those people and to that environment. Are those concerns fair?
I strongly believe the huge majority of the population in South Greenland is worried because they have so little knowledge about mining activities, because the mining industry is not a part of our culture. So there's not enough information out there for them to understand the whole processes of a potential future mining activities.
So when I speak to an engineer from Greenland who tells me she has seen the environmental impact study and she believes that it is safe, what do you say?
I say I don't believe what she has been reading.
When she says people are alarmed because they don't understand it.
Oh, I totally understand what we are talking about here, because I've been investigating other places in our world.
Do you find icebergs amazing still, even though they're in your front yard?
Yes. You will not find two same size or...
In Narsaq, Marion Paviason believes everything that makes this place uniquely beautiful is at risk. From her beloved icebergs to the mountains that dominate the skyline. So, from your understanding, where is the mine proposed to be in the valley?
It's up there, from up there and all the way to inside the fjord, on the top of the mountain.
Okay. Would any part of you accept assurances that this mine could be made safe?
No, it can't. We can keep it safe, just leave it as it be. And that's what we are intent to do and going to do.
Since we've been here in the last 12 months, we've done extensive consultation with the community. I've listened to the concerns they've raised. I acknowledge they've got concerns. Many aren't anchored in science, but we've decided to address those concerns nonetheless.
Flying over this spectacular area, it's clear why people are so keen to protect it. But ETM Chairman Simon Kidston is determined to mine it. To appease local fears, the open-cut mine will now be moved out of sight, and a new port will be built well away from Narsaq. And they promise the mine's tailings dam will be built far from the natural water supply.
So can you give 100% guarantee that the environment, the drinking water, the town itself will not be contaminated in any way?
Absolutely. We will develop this to the highest standards, meeting not just Australian standards, but European and Greenlandic standards.
And this is what we then find.
Simon Kidston and Daniel Mamadou argue that care is reflected in how they've methodically assessed the site through extensive drilling.
We've conducted more than 80,000 meters worth of drilling over a period of 5 years. So the reality is this particular deposit is multi-generational. It could last centuries.
Worth how much?
We've got an early estimation that exceeds $11 billion, US dollars.
But up next, the Greenland government delivers a shocking twist.
Essentially, they simply have invited us to
pack up and go and leave everything behind.
After spending $150 million here.
Absolutely.
So here we are on Fifth Avenue, New York, a long way from Greenland.
Look, we are, but this is where there's a lot of capital and a lot of investors receptive to hearing the story about rare earths in Greenland.
Australians Simon Kidston and Daniel Mamadou from Energy Transition Minerals have swapped the puffer jackets of Greenland for the suits of Manhattan, trying to drum up business from American investors.
Well, speaking of that, Donald Trump, there's his tower. How helpful is his position on rare earth minerals for your company?
Look, I think Donald Trump's administration has radically changed the landscape for rare earth companies.
So when you say he has changed the landscape, it's for the good?
Well, he's certainly put Greenland on the map. He's certainly put our investors focused onto rare earths. So in that context, it makes sense for us to be here and meet with as many investors as we can.
We will keep you safe. We will make you rich, and together we will take Greenland to heights like you have never thought possible before.
Donald Trump's focus is to source rare earth minerals almost anywhere other than China, which currently holds a global monopoly on the critical resources used in everything from defence to electric cars.
A lot of support, a lot of interest.
That puts this Australian pair in the driving seat, given they own the mining lease of the world's biggest rare earth deposit buried in Greenland.
Hi, how you doing?
And high-end investors are listening.
Interest is high, among not just US investor base, but global investors.
Look, the Americans, I think, see the opportunity. They see the strategic importance of projects like this one to decouple the West from China.
Former National Security Council Assistant Director Alex Gray certainly backs the Australian mining project, believing it will ultimately benefit Greenland as well as the world.
If you think about the future of Greenland, do you want a future where those minerals are taken out of the ground in a respectful, environmentally conscious, culturally sensitive way? Or do you want the Chinese to come in and do what they've done in Africa and the Pacific and Southeast Asia and focus on exploiting the population for their own purposes?
But while the Australians are ready to dig after spending $150 million here, with a change of politics, the Greenland government has dramatically changed its mind, ripping up its contract and banning the mine from going ahead.
We were invited by the government of Greenland at the time. We, didn't force our way in.
So what's gone wrong?
Essentially, they simply have invited us to pack up and go and leave everything behind.
After spending $150 million?
Absolutely.
To stop the project, Greenland has introduced a law that bans the mining of uranium. The Australians can't mine their wealth of rare earths without tapping into a uranium seam. As small as the deposit is, it breaches the new environmental regulations.
Can you understand why the local community is not at all interested in having radioactive waste up there in those beautiful mountains?
The uranium's been there for a millennia. We're simply extracting it and removing it. It's very, very low concentrations, but I do understand that the topic can cause alarm, but if one understands the science and the methodologies, you can be assured that it can be treated safely, as it is done safely every day in North America, Australia and other places.
And so the company is fighting back, launching legal action in Greenland and Denmark.
So you're not going away anytime soon?
Absolutely not, no.
Are you up for a good fight, Simon?
Look, we're determined. We're excited by the opportunity and we're funded to stay the course. I've been very focused on pursuing an alternative mine design, one that could potentially alleviate concerns of government and the community.
What's the ultimatum that you've put on the table?
We're not here to give an ultimatum. We're here to hopefully find a win-win solution that makes sense for our company, but also for the people in Greenland, because that's what this is all about.
But the debate continues amongst the Greenlandic people. For Q Olsen, who is Greenland's only female mining engineer, the Australian project safely promises economic security.
So in my opinion, they should start the mining activity.
Do you trust the Australian mining company?
I do trust the technical aspects of what they have shown, yeah.
On the other side, staunchly anti the mine, is politician Marion Paviason, who helped write the legislation banning it.
But now it's not up to the politicians, it's not up to the people of Greenland, it's up to the court. So I hope the court in Denmark and Greenland will listen to the people who are in our area, in our town, in our country.
We have to have Greenland. It's not a question of, do you think we can do without it? We can't.
But given its crucial geographic place on the map, Greenland's future is unlikely to be determined by the Greenlandic people, a Denmark court, or Australian miners. In the name of global security and defence, President Trump is adamant he'll get his own way.
And we're not talking about peace for the United States. We're talking about world peace. We're talking about international security.
So when Donald Trump says he's not talking just about peace for the United States, but peace for the globe, you believe he's speaking the truth?
So I think what he's saying is when you have a location like Greenland that's so important and so strategic, we would be doing a disservice to the world if we allowed China to gain a foothold there.
On this week's 60 Minutes podcast, Extra Minutes, postcard pictures at every turn, but working in remote Greenland comes with challenges.
Epic place, and it's so beautiful. There are waterfalls and bubbling brooks. We're on these all-terrain vehicles and getting up the mountain. It was a bit hairy at times.
It was, and I guess so much does happen behind the scenes that our audience doesn't see, and they will see you on an ATV. Actually making that happen took hours.
Yeah.
That's Extra Minutes, available now on the 60 Minutes Australia YouTube channel.